Hello, my name is Dante Renee, and welcome to the 10 Room Bizarro YouTube page. I'd like to take you back to 1973 with a director by the name of Jess Franco. 1973 was one of his most prolific years, one of his most. It is said that he made 12 plus films in 1973. One of those was a movie that I already reviewed by the name of Countess Perverse. Tonight's movie is of that same year, How to Seduce a Virgin, put out by Mondo Macabre, who also put out Countess Perverse. This movie, How to Seduce a Virgin, it stars Alice Arno, also from Countess Perverse, Lena Romay, also from Countess Perverse, Robert Woods, also from Countess Perverse, and we also have Mr. Howard Vernon as well, also from Countess Perverse. Games of decadence and debauchery lead to mayhem and murder. How to Seduce a Virgin. Wow. What a... when people show you a Jess Franco film, you get ready for a wild and crazy and obsessive, insane world. The insane world of Mr. Jesus Franco. Interestingly enough, he sometimes used pseudonyms in some of his films, inexplicably. In this film, we have his name, but we also have one of his pseudonyms as well, I believe, Clifford Brown, in the credits. So you see his name, Jess Franco, in one portion of the credits, and then a pseudonym for himself, Clifford Brown, I believe based off of a jazz musician he liked, because he would do it off of jazz musicians a lot. How to Seduce a Virgin. This film... Let's take it into pieces here. Let's go with the score first. The score of this film is as if you took the sultry tones and jazz and vibes of a strip club, of sleaze, and you dipped them in the flames of hell. The music in this film is sleazy, seductive, sultry, steamy, smoky, yet tinged with a wild darkness and decadence. Tinged with a disturbing decadence and darkness that makes you feel very uncomfortable and yet completely seduced as well. No joke. The music of this film really, really stands out and really is a character in the film. The volume of the music, there are extended pieces in this film with very little dialogue, and there are sequences in this film. There are a lot of sequences in this film that need good music, and the music in this film delivers. Done by two people, it's in the opening credits, and the music in this film, there's even a rock section that's sultry and interesting and groovy that reminds me, of the rock elements of Countess Perverse in ways. The music in this film is very diverse, very amazing, it stands out, and it makes the scenes that much more disturbing. It adds to the scenes what needs to be added to the scenes. It's another character for those scenes. And the music really adds in the total visceral experience of How to Seduce a Virgin. If we go to Jess Franco's filming style in this movie, it couldn't be more different than another movie that he did with virtually the same cast, the same year, Countess Perverse. The filming style in this film is very wild. It's very chaotic. It's shaky. It's all over the place. You really sense Jess Franco's kind of just boundary pushing even with his camera. Moving around and going anywhere he pleases, almost as if he's moving inside of a room and all of a sudden he realizes, you know what? That looks good. You know what? That looks good on top of that, or on top of that character, or while that character is saying that, or while that character is doing that. In this film, his camera is moving wildly, and it's zooming wildly, and not with a smoothness. But the interesting thing is that you have Franco using the camera technique, this tunnel foreground, bigger than the background technique that he was using in The Countess Perverse, another review I've done on this YouTube page, but only in a certain section of this film. In the basement of this film is the only place that he's using that camera technique. And it's so interesting that it's only in the basement. And he's also doing some things in this film where he's shifting the camera, where the camera kind of goes, and the music goes with the shift. There's a scene near the beginning of the film where you first enter the basement, and the music with the camera shifts, and it's just like, I got chills. He's also doing a lot of amazing things with mirrors in this film, which is something that Franco is known for if you know Franco's movies. But in this film, he's doing it with a small mirror, and then he uses that mirror later on, and when you don't look in the mirror, but another character is using the mirror. He also uses this very unique kind of broken up mirror in one of the scenes. And there's even a section where you see a character near the end of the film kind of come into the scene, but they're not actually in the scene. They're just in a mirror reflecting off of, you know, kind of a reflection, but with a real character in the film. And you didn't even know a mirror was in the scene. Really, really fantastic stuff here, folks. Okay, I'm trying to, sorry about this. Okay, there we go. And I got to tell you about the actors in this film. You know, Howard Vernon really takes a step back in this film. Howard Vernon is playing a butler, and he's taking a step back in this film. He's really, really a background character, but he's still, every time he's in a scene, man, he's amazing. Look at the way Howard Vernon walks, by the way. Look at the way he walks in this film, and in a lot of Jess Franco films. He kind of has these big steps with his knees, and it just forms this Howard Vernon rhythm of insanity. Lena Romay is playing a very bizarre role in this film where she really does not speak at all. She grunts and moans, and she's playing a kind of a retarded character, just a something is wrong with her, and there's a mental incapacity, and she plays kind of this side character that is warped and deranged and possibly born that way, and is kind of a slave of sorts, kind of something that they keep around the house. Alice Arno is really dominant in this film, and so is Robert Woods. And the acting in this film is superb on all fronts. Seriously, seriously, seriously. And the black-haired girl from Countess Perverse, I believe her name is Tania Bouselier. Excellent job in this film. I even loved her more in this film than in Countess Perverse, and she was great in Countess Perverse. But in here, she's playing the virgin that is being seduced, that has mysteries of her own. And this film, you know, there's even a great shot I want to talk about with Lena Romay's character, as you look at the walls of this home that have kind of plant growth all over it, ivory vines all over it, and you kind of see her in the window, kind of sitting in the window, and then the camera kind of comes out, and you see the vast vines and growth all over the house, all over, surrounding every window pane, but Lena Romay's in one of the window panes looking out. Whew, man. This film, the themes of this film that kind of get brought up is a middle-class morality and the destruction of innocence, which really equates to just a re-education in the law of no morality and no ethics. There are these themes that are kind of loosely flying around the film. And the style of this film is unbelievable. If Jess Franco was wild with his camera, he was wild with the vibe of this film. This is a very, very wild, insane, dark vibe to this film. It is off the hinges. It's a train going off the tracks. This movie is dangerous. It's insane. It doesn't play by anybody's rules, but only Franco's. And there is this camaraderie with the actors in this film that they are on this train going off the tracks with Franco in total abandonment. The architecture of this film, always in Franco's films, the main home of this film is unbelievable. There's rocks and waterfalls inside of the house. There are weird angelic sculptures that are creepy. We have bizarre mirrors and lights and stairwells. We have mannequins. We have just, oh my gosh, we have beautiful gardens, and we have beautiful kind of lavish rooms, and of this home. The outside of this home is like a mansion of sorts, and it kind of goes up with the ivory and the vines that I mentioned previously. And let us not forget that in the music of this film, there's even a gardener who looks like he has a major physical deformity. He almost looks like he would belong in that 20s film called Freaks. And he tends to the garden, that he also warns people, and he also recollects previous horrific, disturbing incidents, and he his hands are contorted, and at one point he sits in a tree and plays a flute as the scene moves on to something else, but the flute is still heard in some other scenes in this film. Um, it's insane. This movie reminds me of being as off the hinges as, the way I felt when I watched the Texas Chainsaw Massacre by Tobe Hooper, and when I felt, my gosh, there is an insanity to this film that you cannot deny. How to Seduce a Virgin has that insanity, folks. There are long sections of this film that live up to this title as they are seducing a virgin, Jess Franco style. We are in 1973. We are in this bizarre kaleidoscope of red lighting and mannequins and set pieces that are changing as if we're watching inside of a movie, theatrical things going on, but that the actual characters are doing. It's unbelievable how you're inside of the story, you're inside of this film, and it's now moving set pieces around that are inside of the home, that are putting on a show for each other and for you, the viewer, encasing you and bringing you into this psychedelic, very sexual world of abandonment and wildness and bizarreness. There's the sexuality of this film is first and foremost, and only Jess Franco could make this film, because the sexuality is the language of this film. And there is masturbation, and there is lesbian sex, and there's an amazing bathtub scene that is quick but interesting. There is there are drugs and weird Indian drugs through needles, and there is paralysis, and there is just alcohol, and there is just like, as I said, there, oh gosh, I don't even know where to go here. There are so many different things here, and it's very seducing, not only to the in the story, but to the viewer, trying to suck you in and bring you into this wild, insane world. And the sex is rampant and interesting and wild and seductive and erotic. And you think, okay, we're at a certain level here, and then Franco's camera is zooming in gynecologically right when you don't think he will, and cutting in different scenes and shifting and out of focus. And he plays with that, and then right when you think you're at a certain level, as I've said before, all of a sudden you see excited. Is that penis actually going inside of that vagina? What the hell is going on here? Was that real or not? What? Wait till you see the twists that happen in this film too, folks. Dark, bitter dark, horribly dark, flippy on the side dark. How to Seduce a Virgin, put out by Mondo Macabre, and they put this out in 2013, still fully in print. 1973, Jess Franco's How to Seduce a Virgin. I absolutely love this dangerous film. This is a dangerous film right here, folks. Thank you for watching the 10 Room Bizarro YouTube page. Feel free to check out my other reviews on this page, but also my own personal films at youtube.com/poopydiarrhea. Thank you, Jess Franco, and thank you for entering the 10 Room Bizarro. Now good night.